I did not think this day could get any more interesting. And then I found out about this secret lair. Strap in, because we're about to yargle bargle. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. In one way, it's an odd day because this is the beginning of like Zendikar hype spoiler season, and yet I'm doing videos talking about other stuff because so much is happening. And honestly, with the secret lair that we're going to talk about today, there's not enough time. Like, they're going to put it on sale in like 2 days. So if you don't know about it and you miss out, this is some funny, ridiculous nonsense right here that I personally find delightful. So to understand the underlying nature of the secret lair, you have to understand it's built around Yargle, Glutton of Urborg, who is on the screen with me here. Now, this card is a pretty straightforward card in terms of the fact that it's 1 black and 4 mana for a 9/3, which, I mean, for 5 mana, that is a gigantic power on that body. Yes, toughness isn't that high, but still, that's a really memorable size. And that's essentially what makes him legendary, right? Just the fact that he's got this insanely front-loaded stat set. Now, the flavor behind him is where it actually makes him far more interesting. So he's a legendary frog spirit, and how he became a frog spirit is explained in the flavor text. It says, when Belzenloc's lieutenant, and Belzenloc is a demon lord who basically came to Dominaria, or I'm not sure if he originated from Dominaria, got created there, or just was summoned to Dominaria, but regardless, he basically considered Dominaria his, and every accomplishment was like attributed to him. He was like a crazy egomaniac demon, all right? And so Yargle started out as Yarcool. So he was the lieutenant of Belzenloc. So flavor text says, when Belzenloc's lieutenant Yarcool grew too ambitious, the demon lord transformed him into a maggot. The frog that ate that maggot grew and grew until a ravenous spirit burst from its body. That is some really cool and, like, I don't know, fairy tale, fable style scenario, like warning of don't step above your level. And also kind of just speaks to the evil nature of the demon lord as well, where it's like, you know what? You seem like you want too much out of life. Now you're a maggot. I'm gonna feed you to a frog. Or it just basically, you've got Yarcool, who's now Yargle the maggot trying to like inch away, and then a frog just comes up and is like, what's up? And eats him. But then Yarcool is able to somehow manifest himself into that frog and then just like infuse his spirit into it. And the frog just becomes like ravenous, eating everything that it can, bulging out until this just gigantic burst spirit crazy legendary beast breaks out. Yargle's just fun, and you think like he's not able to say his own name properly with his gigantic crazy frog mouth. I mean, look at him. He's really, really intimidating, and it's cool how they have the whole like power and toughness representative in the body. Like a 9/3, the top of him is huge, and he's got giant arms and claws, but at the same time, his body isn't like nearly as massive, and his legs are smaller too. So it's like he's got like a weaker spot. You can just take him down like a tree down at the base, and he's just gonna go down, right? It's some intense artwork though. He's literally throwing someone into his mouth, about to eat them, because he is all about eating. I love how ridiculous it is that they have made a secret lair around him. Now the first card, there's one for each color. The first, it's so random. Swords to Plowshares. 1 white instant, exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. So I mean, just from a power perspective, this is a great include. Sword to Plowshares is a card that's used by a lot of old school players, and this is now my favorite, Swords to Plowshares. So this would go directly into my cube. Mwah! It is cube worthy. The flavor is fantastic. You've got Yargle standing there, and he's just got like the sword, he's got the sword behind his shoulders in that relaxed sort of veteran pose. You know what I mean? Like someone who's been out on many battles and has like lived life out on the trails and done all kinds of things. And now they're just hanging out somewhere and they still have their weapon because, you know, it's just habit to have it with you and be ready. But at the same time, they've just got their arms resting on it, which gives a sense of they're not ready to use it. You know what I mean? Like if you have your sword at your hip and you draw it out, or if you have it in hand, you're way more ready to go. This is the most unwieldy position. So it just kind of gives that concept of, you know what, I'm just relaxing. I've got no need for this. It's funky, and you've got all these like little kind of masked dudes just hanging out in the background. I'm not sure who the people behind him are, but that's not terribly important to me. The flavor text is amazing. It says, he stood transfixed, able to do nothing but ponder a life of peace and redemption. It was the worst 5 minutes of his life. That is fun. Yargle remembers this time where it's like everything was so peaceful and he just thought about a life of relaxing, and it's like, Yargle must eat. That's great. The next card is Explore. 1 green and 1 for a sorcery. You may play an additional land this turn. Draw a card. Another cube-worthy card. Admittedly, less exciting than Swords to Plowshares. It's not like Explore is a bad card by any means, but it does feel less special. I mean, the nature of the secret lair isn't necessarily to automatically give you the most special cards, so whatever. It just feels like with this Yargle set, they could do anything they wanted with it, because it's essentially just put Yargle somewhere doing something. So aside from like spells specifically attributed to particular people, like he couldn't use a spell like Chandra's Firebolt, and it's like, well, why is Yargle casting Chandra's Firebolt? That, or like on it, you know what I mean? That kind of scenario. Although actually even then I guess they could have like Yargle being set on fire going, Yargle was having a bad day, some kind of nonsense like that. Either way, I'm just saying Explore is all right, but I was hyped for something better for green. I'm a mono green player at heart most of the time, so I'm probably pickiest with green. Ooh, look at me. All right, I guess I should be drinking with like my pinky up. I'm a classy, oh wait, this kind of plastic cup kind of gets rid of the concept of being a classy dude now, doesn't it? Whatever, let's move on to talking about the cards some more. So, I mean, overall, Explorer is a fine card. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. So the flavor text says, an explorer's reward is a view of tomorrow's possible meals. And it shows Yargle just standing out on some mountaintops, looking at, honestly, a very beautiful landscape, right? With all these kind of rolling hills, and they look so chill and inviting, right? And Yargle's just standing there like this. This is, what else can I eat? Consume, consume. Yargle, I figured it out. Yargle is the perfect representation of all of us as Magic players, because I am ravenous to consume Magic products myself. I'm gonna eat this. No, oh, wait, no, that's not gonna work. It's a Magic novel, by the way. That's why. Oh, enough asides. Okay, so to continue this ramble, Yargle's going to be on a ramble. I like it. You know, the artwork is nice. Overall, it's not a terrible card. Let's see what's next. The next card is Opt. So this is 1 blue. I mean, a lot of people know Opt, right? Instant, scry 1, draw a card. Pretty straightforward. This is the reason why when you're playing Arena, it's so tiresome when your opponent lays a blue land first, because you know they have an Opt. But for optimal play, they're going to wait all the way until it goes through their entire turn and then the end of your turn. It's turn 1. What am I going to do? I'm playing mono green. How much information are you going to get that's greatly going to change the state of the game? Couldn't you just play the Opt on your turn? Please, like it's the first turn. Just play the Opt right away, man. Just do it. I don't have a Lotus and a Juggernaut and all this crazy first turn stuff. Just play the Opt. I'm traumatized, okay? I'm not okay. This is not all right. Anyways, let's get back to the point at hand. Play the Opt right away. Just do it. Stop it. Just stop it. Why did they have to put Opt in here, man? I've got, like, it's my PTS Super D is going down. All right. So, we've got a situation where you got the artwork. You got the Demon Lord standing there. That's Belzenlock in the background, right? Because everything has to be tribute to him. So, instead of having Teferi in the background pondering his own spark, which admittedly is amazing artwork for a crazy moment in Magic's history that I never expected to see, So that is cool. And I actually like that this is directly connected to that opt. And you've got the Demon Lord who's got his hands like this, and Yargle's in front of it. Like, they both have the same pose, the same way that the Teferi statue in the background had the same pose, but this one's Belzenlock and Yargle. And Yargle looks pretty good here. He looks pretty good. The flavor text says, the choice isn't whether to eat, but when to stop. That's it. It's not should I eat, it's when do I stop? And the answer is never. Never stop eating. Let's move on to the next of our Yargle Bargle journey. I actually saved all these cards in a folder called Bargle. Yargle is a fun name. All right, Anger of the Gods. This one's great. 2 red and 1, and it's a sorcery that deals 3 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. And you can see that Yargle has taken shelter under a tree, right? Because the cool thing about this, I like this, Yargle has 3 toughness. So the fact that this does 3 damage will end Yargle. So he's hanging out under this tree, looking like he's crying, probably because he's not going to end up living through this, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is the anger of the gods, and hanging out under a tree is a momentary delay, not a reprieve. So his existence is going to get ended. But what ties this card all together and just makes it really fun is the flavor text that says, eating those clerics might have been a bad idea. Like, even at this point, as he's eaten the clerics and the gods are raining their vengeance down upon him, showing their great displeasure by smiting the entire plane of existence with their heavenly bolts of fiery doom. And Yargle is still only somewhat convinced that eating the clerics was a bad idea. Just the idea of this crazy frog spirit that was once an over-ambitious lieutenant corrupted by black magic that is still so ambitious, but now that ambition is simply to eat as much as possible in these kind of comedic situations. This is great. This is what a secret lair is totally allowed and should be. Not every secret lair, but what I'm saying is it's a place outside of the normal sets where it doesn't have to, it's not canon, it's not part of the story, it's not official. It's a place to have fun or to try interesting, unique art styles and things like that, right? That's really what it's about to me. Secret Lair is an exploration of different styles, in most cases. There are exceptions to that, but overall, that's what Secret Lair is to me. And I really like this Yargle Secret Lair. And it goes on sale, guys. If I didn't mention this, it goes on sale on the 3rd of this month. So September 3rd, 9/3 is Yargle Day. So that's what they just decided, you know what? We're going to make a Secret Lair based around Yargle, and we're going to release it on September 3rd because that's 9/3. That's amazing. Like, that's such a great concept. And it's so random that you don't expect it. You don't see it coming. And I love it because of that as well. Like, this is just great. They decided to go out on a limb and commission random Yargle artwork and just make a crazy, like, this is essentially a meme Secret Lair. And it's lovely. I think it's so much fun, right? Like, this is great. Let's take a look at the last card. It's Fatal Push. 1 black for an instant that destroys target creature if it has converted mana cost 2 or less. And it has Revolt, destroy that creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less instead, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn. As I'm reading it, my brain's just like, everybody knows what Fatal Push does. Like, literally everybody, you don't need to read this. And it's like, we're going to be consistent. And some people may not, so whatever. So, this is another Fatal Push artwork. There's just something about Fatal Pushes where they never look like somebody's getting pushed. The first Fatal Push looked like somebody was getting booted off of a roof, right? And then you have the second Fatal Push where you don't actually see the guy getting pushed. You just see him plummeting. So that one, you just go, okay, whatever. Like, you don't see the push. But then this is also a Fatal Push. But to me, when I look at the artwork, it totally just feels like either Yargle is reaching to grab the guy or he's pulling his like claw back after dropping the guy. Like, the way the guy is thrown back, like with his sword flying in the air and the curve of his body, everything like that, and the force of it or whatever, like blowing the sash that he has back, that all feels like the motion of being pushed. But for some reason, and this obviously is, you know, my own individual perspective, it really does feel like Yargle's reaching towards him. Like, I'll save you, bro. I'll save you to eat you, or something like that, you know? Whatever. Either way, the artwork's awesome. It's obviously a bad deal for Buddy who's fallen there. Whoever that guy with the sword is, it's like, well, Yargle's gonna walk down the hill and eat you, man. That's what's gonna go down. So yeah, that's all the cards for this secret lair. Overall, I think it's pretty dope. I would have liked something a little more exciting than Explore, but what are you gonna do? A lot of good green cards are like creatures, and you can't really go, hey, check it out, Yargle's a different creature now. So that's off the table. But yeah, dude, I would totally get this secret lair. It's pretty sweet. Let me know what you guys think. Also, I just released a Zendikar Rising lore video over on Fantasy Geographic, which is my lore channel where I'm doing Magic the Gathering lore videos. So if you want to know all about what's going on currently with Zendikar and the crazy sky dungeons full of treasure that are flying around in the sky that just randomly rose up out of the swamps and seas and sailed up into the air, if you want to know about that stuff, it's all explained in my lore video over there, and there's a bunch of other awesome Magic lore to check out as well. So thanks for coming by. If you like what I'm doing, like, comment, subscribe. It's all great for the channel. And yeah, other than that, thanks for coming by, and I will see you all very soon since there's so much Magic news to cover.